Live? We're
We are.
live.
We're back.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
I wonder
Well,
if Peter's on. We should have told Peter,
oh yeah, yeah.
now that I think about it.
Hmm. Boom.
Anyway, this is our, what, fourth now podcast?
Yep.
We're just getting started, and we're called the Frequency Project because we're talking about frequencies, energy, vibration. And Joe and I like to talk about this stuff all the time. So we decided to do this just live and see if anybody else was resonating with what we were saying. And yeah, so we're going to be talking about a lot of things, and mainly it's our interest kind of got sparked because of this device that I'm wearing called the Healy. And it's a microcurrent device that delivers frequencies to your body through these bands, and several other different ways that you can put the frequencies into your body. But it's run by the iPhone, and it delivers the program via Bluetooth, and then the program runs for about 30 minutes to an hour. And right now I'm feeling the currents through my fingers and my body. And this program is called Coherence. And that's all I got for the intro.
We don't need an intro. So me and David spoke a little bit yesterday, but then we hung up because we figured we'd just talk on here.
Yeah.
All right. What have you been up to, dude?
Yeah. So
Hey, we haven't
I've
talked
had
in
I've
2 weeks.
had some family visit, and I've had some family visit. A friend from Australia has been here. Um, But as far as content goes, there's been some books that I've been reading uh, to spark conversation. Um, and most recently, um, this topic of the 100th monkey keeps coming up in conversations that I've had with friends.
Oh yeah.
And
So I never checked that out. That you sent me a link. But
right.
so what's the? Tell me about the whole thing. No, not the whole thing. Let's just assume people understand what the 100th monkey theory is, and then go from there.
Well, let's not assume anybody knows anything,
Yeah.
because the thing is, the 100th monkey concept is gets thrown around a lot, especially in these woo-woo communities, where it's taken out of context, but it's also very interesting. So I used to think that it was scientifically proven, and basically this zoologist and biologist who, during the 70s, was studying monkeys in Japan. The legend goes that they were dropping sweet potatoes on the shore, and the monkeys were eating the sweet potatoes. Well, over time, they realized that they were sandy and they didn't taste good, and um, this well, let me get his name correct.
The
Because,
monkey's name?
no, yeah, the monkey's name. No, the name of the uh, gentleman. I sent it to you the other day when I sent you all those links. Um, what's his name? His name is Lyle Watson. Lyall Watson. You can
Is
look
this
him
the
up.
guy that did this that was there with the monkeys in Japan?
Right.
Oh,
So this 100th monkey concept, I've heard from a lot of friends just being thrown around as if it is truth. And for me, because I'm a person that likes to, search, research, and look, um, when I started reading about the 100th monkey online, there's a lot of people like debunking the theory. Number one. Number two, nobody was really giving the guy that came up with it a lot of credit. They just throw around this 100th monkey concept as if it's, truth, and then just keep going on, um, talking as if, everybody knows what it is. Just like you started the conversation, let's assume that everybody knows, because in our world, in our the group of people that we talk with a lot of times, everyone knows the 100th monkey concept, what it is. So anyways, I looked it up. Lyle Watson in the 70s wrote a book called Life Tide. And in that book is where he first describes the observance of these monkeys and using the term the 100th monkey. In that book, he talks about the extensive research that he did with these monkeys in Japan, and basically the sweet potatoes that were being left on the shore, the monkeys over time learned that they could use the sand to scrub the potatoes to make them taste better, and that dipping them in the salt water at the very end also made them taste better with the salt. So after the first monkey learned it, the first monkey then went back and taught their immediate family, and then their friends, and then that circle. And then over time, the entire island learned how to eat sweet potatoes from the shore and wash them and make them taste good. Now, what he also observed at that same time was on other islands around the same time, the monkeys were doing the same thing. So now, Lyle Watson, in order to know why he would draw a conclusion that is so esoteric, is because he is very much into studying nature, behavior in nature, and then applying that to human nature. So his whole life's work, and the reason why he went into biology and zoology and got a PhD in both, was so that he could observe the nature, the laws of nature and the laws of animals, and then try and apply that to human beings. So the jump that he made was that, well, consciousness is a frequency. And if consciousness is a frequency or an energy, and those monkeys are all the same species, islands away, thousands of miles away, islands or monkeys started doing the same thing.
Were
He
they that far away? The islands were that spread apart?
Yeah, like he was saying, well, what a lot of people say in this theory, and which is why it makes the scientific community in consciousness and physics and quantum mechanics and stuff, it makes it woo woo, because the conclusion that he draws about consciousness and the fact that monkeys are picking it up wirelessly in other islands is a jump. There is no real scientific hypothesis that could explain why the monkeys would be doing that. Although in his book Life Tide, he does kind of make that jump. And a lot of people continue on that theory. I think because a lot of people want it to be true.
So
I
hold on. You're not so it sounds like it is true.
Well, I want it to be true. I think a lot of people want it to be true because we all have this idea that there is this connection that we all have with each other. And wouldn't it be nice to find a study that we could use to say that science has proven that consciousness, we are all connected, and if you and I come up with a concept here, someone in Africa is coming up with the same concept at the same time, because humanity's consciousness is all we're all connected in that way. And I think that we all want to say that, and we all in our community want to believe that. And so this 100th monkey thing tends to be the concept that everybody uses to say that we're all connected through consciousness. I would say it's not the study, and by using it, we are kind of like harming trying to prove it, because he didn't prove it, and there is no hypothesis or there is no scientific.
But they did the other monkeys started doing it.
Well, let me just say I haven't read the book. Number one. Number two, if you go and look it up on Wikipedia, um, it will say that Lyle Watson is the one that coined the 100th monkey phrase in his book Life Tide. So I want it to be true. I don't know. The reason why he's discredited is if you listen to those I sent you those interviews and you start to listen to the type of person that he is, and
Hmm.
he's out there, man. He was out there in the 70s, and he was out there until he died. And like, he lived on a boat in the
Hmm.
middle of the ocean and just traveled around and was kind of a hermit and just read lots of books. But zoology and biology were kind of his muse so that he could try and explain the ways of the world. And to me,
Gotcha.
listening to that interview really resonated with me because I think there's a lot of us out there searching for what reality really is, because what's being crammed down our throats through propaganda and through the news and capitalism and this world that humans have created on earth is not natural. And so, what he was saying is, by looking at biology, the way that nature works, ecology, the way that entire structures of nature's works, you can then, and then zoology, looking at animals, you can then use that as an example to then maybe understand your body, your relationship to reality and nature. And that's kind of what his whole life's work was about. But it's also, at this point in time, still to this day, considered kind of woo woo science. But as we've talked about in prior podcasts, like in ancient civilizations, all this idea of consciousness and that we are connected to each other and we're connected to nature in a special way isn't new knowledge. I just feel like in this Western mind, we are trying to reorganize our thoughts to re-understand all of you know, the what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say the ins and outs of consciousness, but that's not, I think we talked about this before too, like language. We're at a loss with language and talking about this stuff too. And we're trying to come up with more ways to describe energy, more ways to describe consciousness, more ways to describe different brain states and, you know, why we operate the way that we operate.
Well, I think that there's examples of the 100th monkey theory in culture. The most recent one, I would say, is Corona, right? Um, and so let's kind of
Elaborate.
so so there was now this could be you could see this as multiple things. So this is still like potentiality shit. But um remember, like literally a couple months ago, there was like 1 week where all like the congressmen and senators all got on TV and were like, the mandate's over, everything's over, we're done doing that. Now that could also be seen as like an orchestrated thing because the elections are coming up soon, the midterms or whatever. So they all decided, all right, we're not really winning this battle, so let's and they all just decided on the same week. Or there was enough people that were feeling like this shit is crazy. I'm not wearing a mask outside or in the grocery store anymore. I'm sick of this. And it just got to the point where we hit that tipping point and everybody just said, all right, that's enough. Even though Corona is still around, I actually just saw I was in the grocery store. I walked past the newspaper and the front page of the Providence Journal out here still talking about Corona deaths and all this other stuff. But you walk around, you would not even know, like barely. I mean, every once in a while you see like one person with like a mask here and there now, but I know it's different in Florida. Like nobody's been wearing masks there since the whole thing started. So,
Yeah.
but elsewhere in the world, so there's that. There's even like you could take I don't know, maybe even like the American Revolution of basically they were putting up with all kinds of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, and at one point, sometime in 1776, they all decided, all right, this is enough. We're gonna go in a different direction here. You know, um, once again, that's a more political thing that could be tied to different things as well. But these are just potential examples. I'm sure we could sit here and think of a few more, even.
I mean, are you trying to apply the idea of collective consciousness to these to like
Well, I'm not trying to like complicate
when we
this.
decide like as a society to do something collectively?
Yeah, I'm not trying to
That what
complicate this too much. You know that guy. I can't. I forget his whole name. Is Tyson? The scientist guy that's been on TV. He's a black dude. He's got the mustache. Oh,
oh, Del
Tyson
Grasso,
DeGrasse something, right?
the one that did. He was the narrator for
Yeah, something like that. Well, I'm
Cosmic.
really hacking this up. Anyway, I literally just posted something about him. I should know his name, but he was talking about how, and I'm also going to hack this up because I don't remember the fourth thing, but he was talking about atoms and how the fundamental human or anything living, the fundamental elements are oxygen, carbon, and like nitrogen and like another thing, right? And it just so happens that that's what basically builds, I guess, an atom or whatever, right? Something like that. And then in the universe, I wish I should just pull it up because I'm
Yeah, I
destroying.
feel like you're really
Yeah.
because carbon is everything is built off of atoms.
Mm,
Even carbon.
let's see if I can. So the problem is I don't even know how to get on Instagram on your computer. Can you do that?
Well, go do the thing that you you know where you could like search it
I
live.
know. I know. It's going to take forever to find. Like, how do I find my Instagram on the computer? Do I
Oh
just
yeah, you just have to log in.
Instagram? Oh, where does it go?
Well, while you do that, I guess I could just do a little
There it
aside
is.
to say that if you're just now popping on, Joe and I, if you don't know us, um, we have deep conversations all the time, and we decided that we just do it live because we're gonna do it anyway. So uh, we kind of like read books and research stuff, and then we talk with each other about what we think about what we've researched, and that's kind of what how our friendship has gone for years. And there's lots of things that we're constantly trying to put into our brains with our busy lives, but you're watching it and witnessing live.
Yeah.
Joe re look up something that he was.
Well, I found my Instagram page, but now I can't look at my stories unless I log in, and I don't know my password.
Yeah,
Fuck. Anyways, long story short, the guy's basically saying that we humans and all other things are made up of different atoms. So
right,
isn't the universe, right?
right.
Everything in the universe.
Everything is atoms, right?
And basically that's the connection between humans and the universe. We are all one. We're
Well,
all
yeah,
we're all
yeah,
the same, right?
totally.
So at
Yeah.
some level, we should fluently be able to communicate with the universe, other people, without any kind of physical knowledge or whatever of talking. There's a deep level, and this is a proven fact, right? That all atoms are the same, and everything is made up of atoms, right?
Right,
So then why is it so far fetched that there is some undertone level if enough people are focusing on one thing at a time that it doesn't flow into everything else,
right.
right?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is there is this common uh, misperception about what reality really is. Number one, I don't think a lot of people question their reality enough. Um, I mean, I find a blade of grass pretty interesting
You
when you
do?
really think about it. When you really think about everything around you, it's fascinating. Like I've always thought that, like why do plants grow? How's it that you plant a seed in the ground and then this plant grows and you plant another seed and another plant grows and like they're
Different
they're
type.
made with different cells and like that to me is fascinating. But if you look at your backyard, it just looks like a bunch of different plants. And if you don't like really think deeply about it, then you really don't think anything at all. But I've always been that type of person that has always wanted to know why I'm here. What am I doing? What is my purpose? Like, am I really just here just so that I can go to school, to get a job, to have a family, to then be retired and then die? Like, I feel like that's what we're served on a silver platter every day, and that's what normal is. That's what okay is, and I don't feel like I've ever felt that I want that. I've
Mm.
always wanted something that I create, that I'm like making my own path in life. And through that path has led me to physics, and the idea that we're all made of atoms and that these atoms are vibrating at different frequencies to create matter that we see in front of us. And then that's our reality that we interact with our senses. And so I just feel like by questioning reality a lot, then you start to ask more questions, which leads you down more paths to ask more questions. And like you're
Questioning is
saying,
the key, and that's the thing that's why they're censoring and shutting everything down. Because if you start questioning and keep going, then like it leads to answers somewhere, right? So, but
well,
yeah.
if not answers, more questions, which I feel like so many people are doing now, especially in light of this last pandemic and the way that the economy is going, and like just everything. It's like we're just going back to the way that things were, where everyone's working 9 to 5 again. Like I remember talking to people like, it's so nice to be home. It's so nice to be with my family and spend time. It's so nice to actually breathe and take a breath. It's so nice to have time to think again. And now it's like because of money, like everybody has to go back to work and everybody has to go and do, and now we're back to like running in the hamster wheel again, where everyone's just like trying to survive. And I feel
But
like
the
there
good
has
news
to.
is that people like during that time, there were definitely people that like loved it, but then now they're going back, right? But there was also people that were living that life. Then the pandemic happened. They got that experience of like being at home, and now they've either created their own companies or they're working from home now or whatever. So I think it's I don't know if it's like a 50-50 split. Probably less people are able to continue this on than others, but that's a good thing, I think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, you connecting with all of this that's happening and change of consciousness and stuff, I do feel like, like we did talk about a scientific study that has been proven with collective consciousness, and that is when all of the people praying at the
Mm.
same time, there's like 150 people or monks, and they're praying for the crime rate to drop. That happens every time, and that's 12 to 18% drop every single time, and that's a scientific study that's been done over and over and over again. So to me, that's better than the hundredth monkey about collective consciousness.
It's the same
That
thing though, right? Yeah, it's just a more solid, documented thing. Yeah.
right, because I feel like it's so easy for people to believe in things that they can't see, just as long as it's mainstream. But if it's not mainstream, then it's like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, But that's the same thing when, like, was it Copernicus saying that the world was round and not flat, and everyone thought he was crazy? I think they even killed him. Or was that Galileo?
I don't know.
Both of those guys were like visionaries at their time, like saying, like, this is not the way the world works, and everyone's like, yes, it is. We're gonna kill you because you're a heretic against religion. And we actually still are like that to this day. Like, if you're against the Catholic Church, you
Mm.
know, don't do it.
I found it's Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's his,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Oh, I actually found, here's my story here. So let's see. But let's see the post. And clearly.
Life in your body, top 4 atoms in order: hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. Those 4 atoms. Do you know what the top ingredients are in the universe? The top 4 chemically active atoms in the universe: hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. I am the universe. Yes! So upon learning that you're not special because you do not contain special ingredients, is the same fact that includes the idea that while we live in this universe, the universe lives within us. We
Boom.
are special because we're the same. The top.
Yeah, that's what people are saying when they say we're made of stars, you know?
Right.
Like, we really are made of the same properties that stars are made of.
So yeah, I totally hacked that up. So it's 4 basic atoms. So
Yeah.
not, and as I was saying it, I was like, atoms aren't made up of hydrogen and oxygen.
Yeah. Everything is made of atoms.
Yeah.
So, when you look at the elements chart, they're all the way that atoms are constructed to create matter. Atoms, we're all made of atoms, but not the same atoms. Not everything, matter is different, has different properties because the atoms are constructed differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Slightly shifting gears a little bit, but not really. Oh fuck. What the fuck was I gonna say? God damn it. I was like listening to you and I was like thinking of the Neil deGrasse thing and then uh
Atoms, we're all connected, we're all one. You were saying that before.
yeah, we're switching over to something else. I forgot. Anyways, whatever.
Well,
See, I'm not running coherence like you,
I
so
know you gotta.
my
Is that
shit's still.
is it done synchronizing yet?
Oh, let's see if it's past 10%. It's probably fucking. Oh, I think it did. So
See if it'll fire up
hold
now.
on. What's this full synchronization? I need to click that.
When does it say was the last full synchronization?
It says 2 days ago.
Okay, yeah. Click full synchronization. You need to do that.
Okay, well, another hour is going to
Probably
be.
never did it.
No, hold on. I almost got it because I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. Hmm. See, this is why Joe Rogan and other high level podcasters are so good at what they do is because they have such a good fucking memory. Like
Well,
they
they probably write stuff down and also prepare for their show, and they have a team that
no
helps.
no no no. Joe Rogan's just like I mean, you listen to Joe Rogan or no?
Mm-hmm.
Like
He's got
he's just
somebody that pulls. He's like running the sound
no,
and
he's
pulling
not
up all the
looking at
stuff.
anything though. Like he doesn't have anything. They're just like I mean, he does have a guy, Jamie or whatever. Like if they want to search something, he's searching it instead of like fumbling around like I do, right?
Yeah, but he's
Um,
also got, like, if he's bringing on an author of a book, he's read the book, and then they talk about the book.
right, but I'm talking about this guy. He'll bring on some like scientist or whatever, and then start talking about like some shit that happened in UFC fucking 20 years ago or something, and he'll like remember their names, the date, fucking everything off the top of his head.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he's
that's
an
where
intelligent human being for sure.
that's where I fail. I need like 3 of those guys just knowing. Oh, what about this? What am I trying to think of right now? Anyways, maybe it'll come back to me. It probably will. But uh,
Well,
yeah, I mean, listen, uh, I think it exists. I mean, we clearly think it exists because of we're working with this Healy frequency device, which is on the same realm of what we're talking about, of this connection, this universal connection, and
right.
it's based on frequencies, or you could say uh, atoms, or fucking the breakdown of dark matter or whatever. But it's even all that stuff is based on energy and frequencies. So really, the
Right.
source is the frequencies.
Well, the interesting thing to me is that, so, Einstein and Tesla were onto something when they were talking about atoms and they were talking about molecules and that everything is made of that. But like we talked about in a couple other podcasts, the model of physics is broken. We're still on Newtonian physics when we should be into quantum physics, because we have all of the knowledge. We just don't really have the math to explain it to the nth degree yet. And I feel like people are still trying to figure out math in general. I mean, you've got math that runs off of base 60, math that runs off of base 12, and math that runs off of base 10. And you have limitations to explain certain things with math as a language, when you use the base 10, which is what most people use. We should be trying base 12 and base 60. This may be over some people's heads, which is over my head as well. I just know that when you have a bigger base, you have more ways to explain things. That's basically the basis of using something like base 12 or base 60. But when you look at nature, because the idea to use math to explain how nature works, um, as a language, geometry, trigonometry, calculus, a lot of these forms of math are trying to explain how things work in the universe, how nature operates. And when you look at the cycles of the earth and the seasons and the moon and the months and the zodiac, even 12 is a better number and 60 is even better. Because if you're trying to use math to explain the cycles of nature, you should probably use the cycles, like numbers that are common in the cycles of nature, which Einstein, Tesla, and a lot of these people were really focusing their life's work on trying to figure out how to explain that. But going back to what you were saying, where everything is connected and everything's made out of atoms, that's what this whole device is based off of. That we are all frequency, we're all energy, and wouldn't it just make sense to then deliver those frequencies to your body and get your atoms and cells vibrating the way that they should be? And there's a lot of people that have done research on figuring out what those frequencies are for our body. And they've spent lifetimes creating these frequencies. And so it is really that simple, just delivering frequencies to your body. I feel like you and I like to overcomplicate things because we like to know why. But at the end of the day, these frequencies work. Like, I've been using them for 2 years. There's a lot of things that I can't explain with words how this is working, but it just does.
Well,
It,
the combination of math, like you were just explaining, and like say energy or spirituality is essentially numerology. They've figured out the math of the universe, basically, right? Um,
that's part of it, yeah. I mean, I actually don't know a lot about numerology to speak on that.
yeah, I don't know so much on like exactly how it's done, uh, but I understand like the numbers and what they mean and whatnot. Um, but yeah, no, and basically what we're talking about, like you said before, is some sort of language, whether it's math or verbal words or just showing or tests or whatever, something that's like showing people like these types of things exist. And I think Healy is a very close thing to visually kind of visually through the app, and then also physically you can kind of feel it. It's like kind of like, I guess you would explain that as it's almost like it's a tool, but it's also like a language. It's teaching, it's showing people that this is actually real, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's all this is, right? It's cuckoo world until somebody can fluently, eloquently explain it to somebody that may, it's like just the layman person and it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
And
feel like
enough,
the owner of this company, Healy, Marcus Schmieke, he does a great job of explaining how it works and why he decided to go into this journey in making this device. It's all very, very interesting, and I feel like, um,
but this is exactly what we're doing right now, right? So like we both agree, like, all right, the Healy thing, the Healy device it's doing something, it's working, right? In one way or another. The guy Marcus who helped invent this, right? He's like a scientist. Like I've heard his speeches and stuff, and also he has a tough time speaking English too. So it's he's having a difficult time relaying all this information to everybody around the world. He's trying. They have like this whole program set up where they're setting up things. It's happening.
yeah.
That's why we started this, is because we're trying to like really just break this thing down and simplify it. But it's like
Are we?
just so it sounds like it's like we're trying to be scientists or whatever, but we're not. We're just like trying to tell you the information the best way that we can,
Right.
and
On
in a simple way.
Yeah. So,
That's,
on that note, you're gonna have to, entertain for like 2 minutes
you gotta go
because
poop.
no, I would need way more time. The phone, my
Okay.
computer's gonna die. I gotta plug it in.
Oh.
I know
Well, I did remember what.
all the things today.
Can you still hear me though?
What?
You can still hear me though, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you, but I gotta go grab my uh, charger. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay. All right, no worries. So yeah, I mean, like this is all we're trying to do is really. I know we're both kind of like using big words and long phrases and talking about scientists and stuff. And for me, every time me and David go into deep holes of conversation about all types of things. And honestly, through this podcast, I'm actually trying to not do that. Like we go down those holes, but we constantly need to like pull back a little bit because um, not everybody understands the every single level of these things that we're talking about. Because to even understand, I mean, you need to understand a little bit of like just in the understanding of quantum physics. You need to understand frequencies. You need to understand how your body works, how an atom is made, cells in your body, and
But
everything interacts. Like it's hard to just be like, "Hey, this device does X, Y, Z. Boom, you should get it. It's great." You know,
yeah,
there's
but
so many layers, so it's hard to really simplify this. But we're trying our best, and that's what this podcast is really about.
but I don't necessarily think too that you have to know all of this stuff. I think it's interesting. I
I
think
mean, yeah, if you want
you
to
and I,
like really understand it, yeah.
yeah,
If you just flat out just believe us and say, all right, the frequency device works. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I'm just gonna put it on. I'm gonna go buy it or do whatever. Okay, that's great too. And then you'll find out as you use it. But yeah, not everybody wants to know all the details like us.
yeah. I also feel like in America, um, there's so many. scams going on, especially in the health realm, where everybody's got this like magic pill or magic supplement or magic protein powder. And granted, a lot of them are really great, but I don't think there's a magic pill or magic anything. I think, we talked about in a prior podcast just that there are tools to help us with our everyday wellness. And I feel like this is another tool for everyday wellness. So to me, moving towards a more preventative paradigm of health for yourself is probably better in the long run for you if you want to be here for a while, as opposed to a reactive,
Right.
health system, which is in America, it's all about profit. I mean, doctors are paid by pharmaceutical companies, hands down. If you don't believe that, read the Flexner report, go down that rabbit hole and learn about how everything in America used to be alternative and holistic up until pharmaceutical industry was invented. And now all of a sudden, we've come up with alternative healthcare when that just used to be healthcare. Preventative
Right.
healthcare used to be the normal healthcare.
Speaking of, I have like literally a personal example of everything that you're talking about right now that just
Yeah.
happened to me.
You have a what?
Personal like example of everything that you're talking about that just happened to me this week, and I
Oh,
want
you let her rip.
these things. So I've been telling you that I've been having this ongoing like tooth thing going on. So I haven't had health insurance in the longest time, like since I was like 21 years old. Just recently, maybe like 6 months ago, I ended up getting it. And I also hadn't gone to the dentist in probably like 3 or 4 years. So then I got health insurance thinking like, all right, we got the family, we got a house. All right, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, long story short, I ended up go to the dentist. There's because I hadn't gone in a while, I had like not root issues, like gum issues, right? So they had to do like deep cleaning shit. So I'm like, okay, fine. You pay the money, do deep cleaning shit. Health insurance, but by the way, did nothing to help me on the payments on that. I think it like reduced it by like $50 or something. uh, but so we did the deep cleaning. Boom. Then a month later, I got another abscess on my tooth, the exact one that I went in there for, and they were like, "All right, we just got to do this, and then that should help." So then,
It got worse.
now I go to this other specialist. Now they're saying they need to do a deep cleaning where they cut the gums, peel them back, then go deep in there. And I'm like, can we just pull the fucking tooth out or whatever? And like, no, we don't need to get rid of the teeth. I think we just do that, and then we suture it back up, and you're good to go. That only costs $4,000 fucking dollars, right? So now I'm in this situation where I got shit going on. It's like hurting, and not only is it hurting there, it's like I feel as though it's like spreading, and like anything that hurts in your mouth ends up hitting like your head. You got all these pains, and then like my joints are hurt. Like everything's fucking. It's like connected, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm like, all right. What happened was that happened. They said I need to do that, and I said, all right, I can't do this right now, right? So then they also gave me an antibiotic. I didn't want to take it, so I didn't take it for like 2 weeks, and then it really started. All that shit started happening, and I was like in pain everywhere. So I was like, fuck, I don't want this thing to like infection to spread. So I started taking antibiotics. Hadn't
Right.
taken antibiotics in like 30 years because I know that it basically just like kills off everything in your body, not only the bad infection shit, but also like the good stuff that you need. But I think it might have actually saved my life, right? So these are the things that like, Western technology or whatever comes into play. That's great.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I always think that there is a place for both. I just think we rely so heavily on the Western method where we wait till things get really bad
Mm-hmm.
and then have to,
And then they want to hurry up and fix it like that with a pill.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thank God that the medicine is there, but we shouldn't have to rely on that for our everyday wellness, right? Like we don't need to take antibiotics every day. We don't need to take painkillers every day. We don't need to be on antidepressants for your entire life. I mean, maybe some people may. I don't want to say that, that's everybody, but
You shouldn't have to.
yeah, I think that in general, having an everyday wellness practice within your life is probably going to serve you better for your health over the long term than just going to the doctor every time there's an emergency and waiting until then to do anything for your health.
Right. There's still more. There's still more to the story. So that was
Oh
the
yeah.
so then so I take the antibiotics. I'm on it for multiple days. It starts kicking in. By the way, I'm fucking feeling amazing, which is not what I thought. I felt like all my pains went away. Like I usually like wake up and I just kind of you getting old. I'm like 42. You kind of get like back pain when you wake up and shit. Gone. Everything's fucking gone. I'm like feeling like fucking Superman. And then somewhere along the line, I'm getting to the point where, all right, I've been taking this for like a week, right? And I can't keep taking it. And I know that it's doing harm to my body. So I got to get off. But that's not saying that I still got this shit going on, right?
How long did the doctor prescribe you to take the antibiotic?
They had it for like 14 days, but I still got some. I didn't take them all. Yeah.
14 days. Holy crap.
Yeah. So is that my computer or yours? I think it's mine.
I think it's probably mine.
It's mine. Sorry. So then I get off of it, and then I start getting water fluid in my knee. Now I don't know if these two are connected, but my head starts going crazy, right? Because I was already in my head about taking
antibiotics.
First
Yeah.
time. So now, currently, I still do. I have water on my knee right now. Never had this in my life. I'm not like a freaking runner or anything like that. Although I can go back, and there was an issue, not an issue, but I was on my knees a lot, like a couple of weeks ago, doing some like work and stuff, and like on the concrete and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of remember a moment where that something might have happened. But anyways, this all just happened at the same time. Now, also, if you can see, I have this rash on my neck.
Yeah.
Which that I believe is from the antibiotics, right?
What the hell?
Okay. Continuing on, there's more to the stuff. So that's where I currently am. Now, the other day, so we're working on this other project for this wellness center, right? And we have a functional medicine doctor on board. So I called her up and I'm like, listen, this is what's going on. And I'm not really sure what's going on. Now, the point I made before of like me feeling amazing on this, I started thinking about that and I was like, maybe because I've had this tooth thing going on really for real, probably for over a year, but it's just been getting worse and worse. And I've been trying to do different things and it just hasn't worked. Right. So within that time is where I've been having a lot of like back issues and my joints are kind of hurting a little bit and all this other stuff. So then I start thinking, I'm like, maybe there's like this tiny micro, like slow leak of infection bleeding getting into like my blood or whatnot. So I brought this up to the functional medicine doctor and she's like, yeah, that could be, you could be right, because why would I feel so fucking amazing when everything's killed off? And then I got off, oh, by the way, I got off the antibiotics. I was on it for like 5 days or something, felt great, got off of it for a couple of days, and then started feeling like shit again. Everything started hurting again, went back on it for like 3 days, felt great again, then got off of it, and then I just said I can't go back on. Whatever, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna have to deal with it. So then it kind of like leveled out, and then that's when all this other shit started happening, right? So she points me in the direction. She's like, yes, that could be a possibility. All these things could be connected. She points me to this place. It's called it's a biomed center in Providence, right? They have, and I didn't know this existed, a what do they call it? It's basically like holistic dentistry, right? Have you ever heard of this?
No, never.
Yeah, it's called bio something, but so and the whole place is like basically you can go in for an evaluation, like a physical evaluation, and you know, it's going to cost, it costs like a $1,500 or whatever, but they do your blood work, all this other stuff, the stool test, all everything. They get everything down, and then my doctor starts telling me about all this like meridians, right? And how there could be a
Hmm.
meridian connecting your tooth to like your knee or whatever, right? So then I start thinking the
Yeah.
healing, because there's meridian programs in here. I still don't even know what meridian is. Do
Right.
you? uh, but anyway, she starts saying this, so it
Well,
starts
I can
connecting
talk about
the dots.
that.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get into that in a second. So we starts connecting the
Yeah.
dots. I'm like, okay. So I call them up, and actually, I got a meeting with them tomorrow, and I'm basically going to explain all this stuff, and I'm going to go in, and because the tooth thing to get the surgery is literally going to cost me 4 grand. So to go get this complete evaluation and then have multiple doctors and dentists all be on the same page and all not wanting to give me a pill to fix the fucking problem, they're hopefully going to create some sort of program where I'll get on some sort of vitamins, or where maybe I might have to, who knows what they're going to have me do. Maybe it could be sauna sessions. It could be, you know, who knows what the fuck it is, but they have all that at the facility there. Could be the cryo thing that you were doing. It could be a bunch of things. It could be multiple weeks, but they're going to set up a program, and it's going to cost me probably $1,500 to $2,000. But once I'm doing that and that's over and I do this detox or whatever, then I just have to maintain it. And then I'm going to see that doctor maybe once a year, just to be like, hey, this is what's going on. I tried that thing. Oh, it's not really working. You got anything else? Whatever. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And there's a dentist involved in it too. Because right now, most people, they'll just go to the dentist over here. That dentist knows nothing about meridians and how your tooth and gums could be connected to like your liver or some shit like that, right? They know nothing about any of that.
Right.
So you could be poisoning yourself and not knowing it, and maybe that's why you feel like fucking shit every day. Because that,
True.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's 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 what the conclusion I've come to in the past couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, that's, I
To the
think,
point of like
and
frequencies and connection of everything, everything is connected. And then you start telling me about this other thing, that primal toothpaste stuff that regrows gums. My dentist just told me that that's impossible. So
and
I
the
don't.
the enamel on your teeth, yeah, using clay, and yeah, it's called primal organics.
Yeah,
I just started
yeah,
it.
that was kind of like a rampage I just went on, but I hope you can see the connections with all this stuff. You know.
No, I think a lot of people can relate to that, man, because things like this happen in life all the time. You're like going, 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 and we we can't afford to get sick. People can't afford to go down, and so when you go to the doctor and you hope to get the best care, but that's not always the case.
Mm.
And to your point that everything is connected, yeah, like one thing happens and then the other thing happens, and it's a cascading effect. And I think one of the biggest problems in America is the fact that, and this could be in other countries too. I don't know. I can only speak to America because I've lived here for so many years. Is that you go to this general practitioner, and then if something is going on with your foot, you got to go to the general practitioner. The general practitioner says, "Oh, here's the foot doctor," and then they take you to
Right.
the foot. But like you said, if it was a meridian issue, say that you you hurt something in your left shoulder, and your left shoulder is actually connected to the foot. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
one of the things going to see a holistic doctor or an alternative doctor here is that they do a more thorough evaluation of your health, and not just look
Overall.
at the symptom, but also try and get to the root of the symptom,
Mm.
which could be something totally different, like a tooth, you know? So
Right. The
I think
reason why they charge so much up front, it's usually like $300 to $400 for an evaluation with like a functional medicine doctor, is because they're
yeah,
actually trying to help you. They get their money up front because they're going to spend, literally, no joke, when you go to a functional medicine doctor, you're going to spend at least an hour to 2 hours with them talking about your history, your family's history, what, like every little detail that you can think of that's going on in your body. And they're going to like think about all this, and they're going to connect dots with all kinds of shit that you do. And then they're going to take your blood work, and then they're going to do your stool test, and they're going to create this whole thing, and they're going to understand you. Not unlike your doctor, your regular primary care doctor only doesn't barely knows any of their patients, really. I mean, there's some good doctors that really get to know them, but a lot of them that I've been to, they're just like in and out. All right, what's wrong with you today?
yeah.
Okay, blah blah.
Yeah, I think it's why a lot of people avoid going to the doctor or don't want to, they just keep putting it off. It's hard to find a good doctor here.
Hmm.
I from experience as well.
Yeah.
But, back to this thing, like running it every day and this program, the resonance one, did you ever get anything for your tooth or run anything for your tooth or
I have uh once again, like with this thing, it's like this is not the magic pill either, you
yeah,
know?
of course.
Um
Yeah.
and when you got it's like if you came down and all of a sudden you went to the doctors and you had like a third degree cancer, is that what they call it? Like is it degrees or whatever?
I think it's
But
stage.
stage 3 cancer or whatever.
Right.
Cannabis, eating like a whole like pile of cannabis isn't gonna fucking help you. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta do something. And I feel like that's where I'm at with this tooth thing. It's either gonna like come out, and it's not only that tooth, it's like other teeth that are close behind it. And it's either
You've
gonna come out.
waited like too long. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I understand why people want that like quick fix, but I had to like calm myself down, chill out, get to a point where physically I can just take a step back and evaluate and decide what I want to do moving forward. Because I
Right.
do still have this like short period of time. Like this is gonna come back again. I'm gonna be in pain soon. And I have to decide on whether I want to go spend a bunch of money on this thing that may or may not even solve the problem, and then if it doesn't solve the problem, then I gotta go spend more money to pull the teeth out, you know, or try this alternative path that I guess also may or may not work, but at least to me, it's so much more detailed, and it connects things together. I feel as though I understand my body enough to know what's doing what when it happens. I feel that way, and I feel like the
You
tooth
just think,
thing is just crazy because it's just nuts. It's like there's no way your shit can be that fucked up, like a tooth that's unrecoverable. Like yeah. If you looked at my teeth and you saw like a bunch of black shit, all right, they're fucking dead, dude. You got to pull them out. I don't have any of that. My teeth look
yeah.
fucking great. I have no cavities. Um, yes, maybe a gum issue, but I think that's something that can be resolved if the body is able to focus on that area somehow and detox. I probably need some sort of detoxification, right? Um, Anyways.
Well, I also think too, just by knowing you, you do that like those teeth whitening strips a lot.
No, I haven't
And
done those
that
in years, actually. I haven't done them in years.
really,
Yeah.
but
They
that
just,
does mess with your enamel just by doing it.
yeah.
And the stuff that I was talking about, the primal organics, they talk about remineralizing your teeth because like over time with just age, like your teeth get weaker, the enamel gets weaker, the foods that we eat, if there's sugars in them or carbohydrates, starches, they can break down the enamel of your tooth. And this is talking about actually remineralizing your teeth. And it makes sense when you look at the formula of this toothpaste. It's a powder, and it's like bentonite clay and activated charcoal and
Is it Primal Life
hydroxyapatite.
Organics? Organics? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Primal Life Organics. I mean, you should pull it up
Yeah, yeah.
because I just started it. Yeah, that's it. That tooth powder, and you like dip your toothbrush in it, and I don't know. I've used it for 2 days, so I can't really say much about it other than it's been great the past couple of days. But you
Where's
telling me
like
the story about your tooth definitely made me, you know, think about my teeth again because I don't use fluoride toothpaste and I haven't for years. And I don't have any issues with my teeth, but I always like to try new things too. So I basically got everything in that kit just separately because I didn't need the toothbrush. I have like an electric toothbrush that I use. I
the
got that
fuck is
copper
this shit?
tongue. Dude, that copper tongue thing is next level.
What is it?
It is next level. You like take it and you take it home and you scrape your tongue. And let me just tell
It's
you, like
metal,
I
no?
brush my tongue every single day and my tongue is pretty freaking clean. But
Right.
when I scraped my tongue with that, like, all right, it's gonna sound nasty, but like a gel came off of my tongue, like it was like goo.
Really?
Yeah. And
What
now
is it? Like special like copper thing or
it's
something?
just copper. That's all that it is. And you scrape your tongue. It sounds, you don't even have to scrape it hard. Like I didn't realize it's almost like squeezing a sponge.
Where is
And
the information that it tells like talking about like the gum this gum serum? Is that what you got?
yeah, yeah. So I
Is that
got
the
that
stuff that's
too.
supposed to regrow the gums?
Well, I don't think they say that it regrows the gums, but if you look in like people's comments, like a lot of people are saying, it's helped them with gum surgery. It's helped them, if they've had issues with flossing or
Hmm.
like there's just a lot of, it's all natural.
Interesting.
And the idea is that it's remineralizing your teeth and getting the bacteria in your mouth right. And so when you were talking about, having an abscess tooth for a year and the bacteria from your mouth going into the rest of your body, um,
Right.
if the bacteria in your mouth was balanced, maybe it wouldn't be as bad.
Right.
Also just ideas,
All right. I
but
might get
those
this
are the kinds of people that we are. We like to try new things, and especially if it's natural.
detox kit. I gotta get on that. Yeah. So
Like I've never whitened my teeth, and I feel like my teeth are pretty white.
yeah, you've never whitened them? Never
I've
done
tried those strips once, and my teeth were so sensitive that I was like, nah, I didn't like it.
Did I tell you the story about the one time I whitened my teeth and it was like an emergency situation?
Yeah, like you couldn't breathe.
Yeah. It literally, like the air that went between my teeth that hurt.
And
Yeah.
that's what I remember because I was like, I didn't leave mine on as long as you did
Yeah.
to get that, but I could see how that could really affect your enamel. Like it
That
really
is
takes off the layer.
that's the one thing I'll tell you that fluoride resolves. You put
Oh yeah,
yeah, because it's so tiny the particles that it actually fills in the pores. But then you get a mouthful of fluoride.
yeah. Maybe fluoride is okay on a treatment like that. A one-time
I
basis or
did
something.
because it was like I was gonna die. And we were going to like Mexico that morning. I literally went to the dentist like that morning. They're like, here's some high level fluoride toothpaste. Just scrub it on your teeth. I probably still got it in there now. That's why I can't. That's why I can't remember things like fucking Joe Rogan.
More lion's mane. More lion's mane.
Dude, I've been on that shit. I love that. I'm on it now all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's in my mud water. Um,
In fact, I've
I
been
feel like
doing like well, this is besides the lion's mane, but it's got to do with the smoothies. So for the past 2 days, I've been doing like this anti-inflammatory, like ginger, cayenne pepper, lemon, celery, like kind of a detox smoothie, and I feel as though it's helping the water on the knee. Although I've had this shit for over 2 weeks.
What does
Water.
water in your knee look like?
I see it.
Yeah.
So
Just like swollen?
can you see a little the bump?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me move this.
Does it just feel like fluids in there?
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt, it's just there.
No, but it's like it's kind of starting to hurt because like it only hurts because of the pressure of it
Right.
pushing on the skin, you know? So I really don't know what to do about it. It's like, I could go get the fluid removed, but where do you go for that? Some fucking knee surgeon. He's gonna charge me $2,000 for that, I guess.
Probably.
So I'm going the long route, and I'm just like I ice it every night. Freaking, it feels better just in the past couple days, but it's still there.
Yeah.
I've never had it in my life. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever had.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like
We're good.
on that note,
We're good.
we have a random started with the 100th monkey and ended up with your water in your knee.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to talk for like 5 more minutes, I did remember the thing that I was gonna say before.
Oh yeah, what?
So I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday or 2 days ago, and we were just talking about fucking conspiracy theories and whatever. But then he was kind of like negative on the way things are going and whatnot, and I'm like, well, I guess this kind of has something to everything we talk about basically has to do with energy and frequencies and whatever.
Yeah.
You just have to dig deep and figure it out, right? But like speaking of like I guess you could call it good and evil or whatever you want, but there is one side you can see is trying to push culture in one direction, right? And to me, it seems to be the people that own the media because those people are pushing out certain narratives, right? And they're paying everybody to repeat the narratives. And it's going in one direction. And then they're doing the censorship and all this other shit, right? So he was kind of like, yeah, man, we're kind of fucked, right? And I was like, well, no, not really, because there's a yin and a yang to everything, right? Basically. And so, yes, that's happening. Yes, that's probably been happening for over 100 years, right? And it's probably getting more so. But at the same time, there is alternatives to all that stuff now. There's what we're doing right fucking now, right? Anybody can do this.
Right.
And then there's
using technology to our advantage.
Right. Oh, yeah, and that's what he was saying. So the technology, and because he's like one of these people that just maybe wants to just go buy 100 acres of land somewhere and build a bomb shelter and probably just take his family there, and then maybe that type of thing might have worked in the past, and we all kind of have this thought of like, if shit hits the fan, right? But what does shit hitting the fan now look like? It's not what it used to look like, right?
Yeah.
Shit hitting the
It
fan,
feels like we're pretty much there.
right? We probably are, and people don't even know it. But like shit hitting the fan before was like fucking zombie apocalypse shit, or like China attacking America or Russia or whoever, right? And we got wars, and you're fucking shooting people for food and shit like that. That's never going to happen ever. They've already figured that out. It's going to be in a different way. It's it's going to look completely different, and this is what I'm talking about. It's already looking different. The manipulation of things and pushing people in a certain direction. Those people that like you know that they watch the news because they're saying, you know exactly what they're going to say. When you ask them a political question or something about the environment or the health or whatever, they're going to say, you know exactly what they're going to say because it's parroted everywhere. Those people you can't save. They're going along with the system, right? But then there's other things that are happening, such as like an Elon Musk buying Twitter, right? Some people believe that he is this freedom of speech person. Some people believe it's just a scam to make more money for Tesla or whatever the fuck it is. I don't give a fuck because if he is saying that you can get on Twitter and say whatever the fuck you want and you're not going to get kicked off, that is combating this other thing dramatically, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I've been really surprised at is the level of censorship that has been going on, like with YouTube and with Facebook and all these social media platforms. And like, if it's not hurting anybody, like, why not just let people say what they want to say? I don't know.
I see it
It,
as a desperate attempt.
well, this
Continue the dinosaur
the
method.
Well, the argument to that is that they're saying, the sharing of misinformation is dangerous. But I do like to think that people are smarter and can make decisions for themselves if we let them. Um, and I don't know, maybe that's just my utopian side of humanity, thinking that, people are going to make informed decision.
There are going to be
But
people that make there are like if you do let freedom reign, there are going to be people that make dumb decisions. But you
Well, I
have
mean, chaos is inevitable, but I also think, how by regulating what the truth is, like who gets to decide what the truth is, and that's my biggest issue is that when you look at the money flow of the news and media and the people that own it, it's a very, very small amount of companies now. It's only like 3 to 5 companies that own all of the media in the world. It used to be like over 500 in the 80s. And from the 80s to now 2022, to only have 3 to 5 companies own everything,
it's crazy.
that's a very small number of people allowing uh, or dictating what the truth is.
Right?
So
Isn't that considered a monopoly? Why isn't our government doing anything about this?
well,
Why?
that is a long, long, long
They're getting
conversation
paid. They're getting paid. That's
of
why.
how laws changed in America for that to happen, because monopolies used to be illegal, but that was changed.
Right.
Um,
So,
but getting
anyways, getting back to trying to bring this thing full circle, there are battles going on, whether you know it or not, and it's essentially the battle for freedom, really, freedom of the mind, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Um, and then there's other levels. There's all kinds of things happening right now.
Well,
Uh,
and right, I hate to cut you off, but right there, because we started talking about Lyle Watson in his book Life Tide, and just, like I said, he lived out on a boat and just read books. And one of the most important things to him was just freedom of thought. And for him to live out in the boat was the only way that he could really experiment with himself to have his own thoughts.
mm,
And that to me was a powerful statement because, I do feel like everyone has their own thoughts, and everyone's thoughts are individual to them and important. And the fact that propaganda and news are trying to dictate a certain truth to us, whether it's right or wrong, or you know the truth or not, it's still someone else's thought. And so to be able to break away and just kind of sit with your thoughts and figure out what your thoughts are in relation to everything else that's been fed to us, that to me is the hardest part about just discovering yourself.
yeah.
Like, what are my thoughts? what really is my thought. You know what I mean? Like from the moment we're born to the moment that we're, now adults, we're ingrained, what is right, what is wrong, and what is normal,
Yeah,
what
but what do you
society.
really think, right? Like
Yeah.
just because there's a lot of things that we just kind of take for granted because of whatever culture we grew up in and what we think, but it might not be our actual thoughts if we actually took the time to think about what we feel, right?
Right. Where the thoughts are coming from,
Right. And by the
Uh,
way, I don't know if you're familiar, if you know that Biden has a new like ministry of fucking truth and shit. You heard about that? This is
nope.
real. This is real. Like there's a branch of his department now that is focused on misinformation.
Interesting.
We're literally 1984 is happening right now.
Yep.
Once again,
But
yes, this is the week we're in it now, but people don't know it, right? It's the apocalypse or the time. People think it's going to look like, oh, well, you're not going to be able to get food and whatever. And no, it's this is happening. It's about control. It's always about control, right?
well, I mean, didn't I tell you that I went to go buy bread the other day, and it was like I buy this organic Dave's bread. It's really good. It's got seeds in it, and just like a good bread. And it was $8.49
Oh my god, we have a gluten
for a
free
loaf of bread. And I
dollars.
was like, normally it's like on sale for 350, and regular price is like 550, which is, it's a big loaf of organic bread. So 550 was like high for me. But now it's like $9. You've got gas, they're saying that it's gonna double, maybe even quadruple.
Are you
And
serious? Like, what's gas down there?
uh we pay 5.49 a
Oh
gallon.
fuck! And that's the regular shit. No, you get the premium.
No, it's premium because of the car that we drive right now. But
So up here, the regular is basically $5.
yeah, that's about the same here. I think it's 504 or 506 or something.
Yeah, it's insane. I've put gas in my car like 3 times in the past week. Anyways,
We're jumping around.
yeah, that's a
We're like
whole
an
other
hour.
story that we can get into down the road. But yes, the wraparound here is that um, there are things going on, and there are groups of people that think one way, groups of people that think another way, and somewhere along the line, one of those groups is going to win out, and it's going to spread to the other groups, or they're going to be either. See, I think one side wants to depict themselves as being the majority of the way that they think and how things should be. And the other side actually is, but they're trying to get it out to show everybody that it is. When maybe, in fact, we all just have to sit at home and just think about what we want in life and how things should go, and then the 100th monkey theory takes its course.
There you go. I mean, that's the idea of collective consciousness has always been fascinating to me, and the fact that you know there is that one study that we can prove, where the monks go in for the crime rate to drop, and it does every single time. That to me is a great example that when you put a lot of heads together with the same ideas and thoughts, that something real can be manifest. And to me, that's just the beginning of the idea that thoughts can become things. So
Yeah. I mean, clearly we all know that thoughts can become things, right? Everybody who's ever invented anything, it was a thought at first,
oh, there you go.
right?
There you go.
And usually it takes a group of people or a whole team or hundreds of people sometimes, depending on what it is, to make it come to fruition. But I think what's happened, yeah, we could go down all kinds of rabbit holes. They
I know.
utilize money now. They utilize money now. Before it used to be maybe back in the day, Egyptian times, maybe everybody used to just believe in this thing that you needed, right? And they all were like, wow, that's something we believe in and we want to work towards, and we're going to help you do it. And it just becomes to fruition. But now it's like, well, I'll pay you for this because you kind of have this skill, but you might not be passionate about this, but I'm going to give you this much money to do this. And then those things get accomplished, but it doesn't have the same energy, I think, sometimes. But that's why, like a Tesla or an Apple or whatever, they have a culture that's built in because the people that work there actually believe in the products and they know that they're high quality and they work, right?
Yep.
That's how every company should be. But because you got money, it kind of manipulates the thing, you know? Anyways.
Yeah, it definitely. So I just finished this book called Drive by Daniel Pink. Did I
Mhm.
tell you about it yet?
No.
So let me just because why not?
I can't. I feel like we keep trying to end, but then it like keeps.
So,
It's fine. Go ahead.
it's about human motivation and the idea that adding rewards like money or incentive to do something actually makes that something worse. And there's all these studies that have been done over and over and over again. So again, this book is called Drive by Daniel Pink, and it's brilliant. It's about a 2 hour audiobook read,
Oh, that's
so it
easy.
can't
I'll
be
do
that
that.
long.
I'll do that
Um,
later this afternoon.
yeah, but basically, it starts out with um, these this experiment where chimpanzees are given puzzles, and they do the puzzles, and they figure out how to do the puzzles. Now, the thing about the experiment was they were trying to do something entirely different from what happened, and so this is why this study done in the 70s was so important to Daniel Pink that he wrote a book about it, and then continued to do more digging into this idea that adding reward and incentive to humans actually makes the end result worse. So the chimpanzees are given these puzzles and they start doing them. Once they finished them once, they would set it off to the side, and then over time, they all kind of passed it around and they continued to do it for fun, literally just for fun. Like, those little like Mensa puzzles with like blocks or
Moving
whatever, or
blocks. Yeah.
just figuring out how to do something. Yeah. So they kept doing it over and over again, and they loved doing it. So the scientists started timing them. How fast could they do it? How often were they doing it? They were really like studying these monkeys and what they were doing with the puzzle. Well, then they thought, if we give them rewards like grapes or fruit, then they're going to do the puzzle faster and they're going to do it better.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? The exact opposite happened. Every time they gave them incentive, they either didn't want to do the puzzle anymore, they did it worse, they were making mistakes, they didn't finish it.
Hmm.
Now, doesn't that start to sound like other people? you know? And so he modeled the entire crux of this is that he starts to another experiment was with artists. So when would so rolled them in an experiment, and they'd have a control group, and then they'd have the three groups that they have to do to create the scientific method. And one of them, they were giving them incentive to draw a certain mural with a theme. One of
Mhm.
them they just left in the room to with pencils and crayons and stuff to sing, and then the other one, I think they said, just draw this mural with this theme or whatever. Well, the people that were incentivized, the obviously art is subjective, but every time their conclusion was that the art, if given no incentive or no money, and people wanted to draw something, then it was way better than incentivizing people to create some kind of art.
Mm.
So he kept going back to the idea and the theme that people do want to work, people do want to create. inherently, but they want to do something that actually fulfills them and on their own terms. So what he was saying is that we're in this kind of 2.0 version of working, where people go to an office, work 9 to 5, they have bonuses, they can work harder to meet that bonus, then work harder again to meet another bonus, but then, health problems start to arise. You don't get to spend time with family. You end up making all this money and don't have time to enjoy the things that you have. There's like a long list of things that I feel like a lot of people in this 2.0 system are having regrets about. And like looking at my parents now, um, and people in that generation, some of them don't even make it to retirement,
Yeah.
and my mom, I remember her crying like her friends just dying because they're getting older and they're not even making it to retirement. And this system is broken, is what he's saying, because it's not built off of how humans actually operate. So
Maybe
he
the
was
best
saying
bet
there's
is
a
to
lot.
let them work whenever they want to work.
Right. And that's kind of, ever since COVID has happened, a lot of people have been able to work from home and new things are being created. And I think that there's a lot of companies now that have operated like that for quite some time.
Hmm.
And he calls it the system 3.0, where, like some of these places are so loose where you don't clock in. You basically are given a task and a deadline, and however you accomplish it, you can do it from home. You can come into the office whenever you want.
That's
So
how I've always thought about projects. Always. Since I was a kid. Like you just like here's when it needs to be done, and this is what needs to be done. You have the skills to do this. Sit at home in your fucking underwear and get it done. I don't give a shit. Just on that day, you better have something, or else I got to find somebody else.
yeah, yeah, there's all sorts of different um, systems out there that people are trying, which I think is cool because I think there's a lot of creativity within people, and when people get together to create something, it can be really amazing, especially if everybody's happy doing what they're wanting to do.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's what we're trying to do with this wellness facility, where like everybody that's involved, we have, like I said, the functional medicine doctor, we have my wife, psychotherapist, we have a physical therapist, we have nutrition, and they all have their own things going on, and
right,
we meet up when everybody's schedules work together, right? And then, you know, we're getting these different tasks done, and whoever can do them jumps on it and does it, and it's it's not like a we all need this, we all have to do this, and it's about money. We're going to make lots of money from this or whatever. It's about just something we all believe in, and we all schedule cut out times in our own lives to help start building this thing,
right.
you know. um
I
and
think this is part of it, us talking and just
100%.
putting it out there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So man, yeah, good.
Anyway, that book, you should read it.
I will.
I think you'll really like it. Daniel
Send it to
Pink,
me after this. Actually, shoot me the audiobook.
Drive, Daniel Pink. And then also, both of us are reading DMT, The Spirit Molecule, which is a 14-hour listen,
Yeah,
which we'll have a lot to discuss once that's done.
yeah. I think we should talk about that as soon as you're done, because
Yeah,
by then I already kind of like forgot stuff, but like you'll say things and it'll refresh my memory, and we can just like go from there.
yeah.
But yeah, man, if you don't know what DMT is, you should look into it. Everybody's got it. We all
Spirit
have
Molecule.
bodies. Every animal makes it. Um, and it's yo. Did I? I'll tell you. I'll tell you offline.
All right.
I think I already did. We can maybe experiment a little bit with that if we want.
All right. We should probably peace out.
Yeah, I gotta go pee.
All right.
All right, man. Love you.
Love you too, man.
Bye.
Peace.